Hello and welcome to episode 75 of the Life in General podcast. My name is Nick.
I'm Ian.
And, hold on one second. Gee, I wasn't prepared there, actually, for a second. As always, you can email us any questions or comments to contact@lifeingeneralpodcast.com. Check us out on Twitter at LIGpod. We are on Facebook also. You can find us on Podbean, iTunes, Google Podcast, I don't know, Podcast Addict, Spotify, just about everywhere else.
Should I say it?
What?
Herpes on a whore.
Oh, Jesus. I forgot all about that. Yes, well, Ian. We're easier to find than herpes on a whore, apparently, according to the wisdom from Ian.
Right. I think it's more we're as prolific as herpes on a whore.
Is that really prolific though?
I would imagine. I would imagine most people of the street like that. I don't want to say women of the night or whatever, but because it's not just women.
Yeah, because men can be whores also.
Exactly. A
man whore. Right?
Sure,
why not?
And anyone can sell themselves for sex because there's always someone out there who will pay for it.
That's very true. Well, I mean, to be completely honest, you really pay for it one way or another.
I suppose that's true, but...
Right?
I don't know.
I mean... Okay, so we're not talking about herpes and horses.
Right, yeah.
It's like 3 episodes in a row we've had some kind of discussion about that. We actually have a topic this
we always have
episode.
a topic.
No, we've done a couple episodes where we didn't have a topic.
A couple out of 75.
That's true. Hey, this is 75 episodes.
That's 3/4 of 100.
Yes, Ian. 3/4 of 100.
I'm just saying. I was implying that it's a big deal, kind of. Not a great big deal, but it's. It's not like a milestone or anything.
No,
but
I didn't even realize it until I said the episode number.
Right.
So,
if our podcast was a human, we'd be nearing the end of our life, or at least our life expectancy.
Maybe. Well, it depends on if it's a male or female.
True. Because what is life expectancy now? Like 80?
Something like that, I want to say.
80, 82, something like that.
I think women still have longer life expectancy.
Yeah, but not by much. I think it's the gap's closed considerably.
I don't know.
So
I just blame it all on like women nagging men to death.
Spoken like a true husband.
It's like, oh my God, just let me fucking die.
Spoken like a true husband.
So we both, I would say we're both like avid movie watchers.
Mm-hmm.
I think my dog is dying over there.
She just coughed. Again.
Maybe she's dying.
Yeah, she's all right.
But so there's been this like recent trend of, I don't know, when did like Netflix and all that really become popular? Like 2000.
Well, as far as their streaming stuff, they were when it was strictly just their mail service. That would have been like 2005, 6, maybe 7. 7 was probably like the peak of their like mail service with the DVDs and stuff. Their streaming didn't come until like 2012. 10 to 12 in that range, yeah.
I know it was still pretty popular. So when I moved to Tennessee in 2008, and it was still really popular then.
Right. But it was primarily the mail service.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
The mail order. Mm-hmm. But I guess it really was. I guess mail order.
It is. That's why I call it mail service.
Yeah.
It's like,
I guess it's not really mail order, but.
Right. Because you do order it and it comes through the mail, but,
I think you ordered it online, though. Mail. When I say mail order, I think like
catalogs.
The catalogs we used to get back in the day.
Yeah.
Or when, was it BMG? It would be like 45 movies for 35 cents.
You just have to buy 45 movies in 2 years at top dollar.
Yeah. And they're all $75 each.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was Columbia House was the movie one. They did music.
Oh, that's right.
BMG was strictly music.
Yeah, I did BMG. I don't think I ever did the movie one, the Columbia House.
I didn't either.
I mean, I think I might have with like, because Disney had a service like that too. I think we did that. Meaning I did that with the kids. I think we had the Disney movies, but I don't think it was primarily the music. I did BMG all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I did BMG.
And it's actually kind of interesting. If you go on, I know this is slightly off topic here, but I guess not really. If you go on Discogs, when you're looking at vinyl records on there. Mm-hmm. They actually have BMG exclusives on there also. Yes, because I've actually got a couple of them.
Really?
Yeah. As I was going through to catalog them, I was like, "Oh, look, it's got the like BMG logo on the back of it." I was like, "Yeah, I know this service well."
Interesting.
But I don't remember where the hell I was going with all that. So
mail. We were talking about mail order.
Oh, that's right. So my question is with the, I mean, there's tons of streaming services now. You got Hulu, Netflix, of course. Disney's got their own
in November. Disney Plus. Yep.
What else is out there?
CBS All Access. There's another
pretty much everyone. Even like HBO has their own streaming service now.
Yeah. Well, and I think ultimately they all will. And this is my hypothesis. Right now, they're all individual.
What, it's going to get more expensive than cable eventually?
Well, to a point, but I think what's going to end up happening is then you're going to get these groups that consolidate them all. So basically, it's back to cable, where you buy these packages.
They've already started doing that.
Oh, have they?
Who is it? I know Apple's doing one.
It's like a package deal?
Yeah.
I know they're Amazon.
And I guess YouTube's doing that. With
networks and like live streaming, but I'm talking about like what Netflix and Hulu specifically are, where it's shows and movies, old and new.
Okay.
Where, basically what I pictured is like a network where you get like Netflix, Hulu, blah,
Oh, okay. You mean like a service of the services?
Yes, exactly.
I got you.
It's like consolidated. Get this group for X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
And it's like back to the cable packages.
I hope we never get to that point.
Although, I mean, I don't see us not, because it's going to get too expensive for most people if they want to, if there's 10 or 15 streaming services that they want, they're going to be paying $200 and some a month.
Yeah. I mean,
that's more than a cable bill.
But at that point, you would just get cable.
But you wouldn't have access to a lot of the exclusive stuff.
Well, that's why you have friends.
Yeah, but they're
you just use their
as soon
accounts.
as they figure out how to do it, they're going to put a stop to people sharing their streaming.
I don't know.
They're already trying to now.
I don't know if they really can.
Sure, they could.
I mean, you could do like geolocation,
but they're, mobile. I mean, you can watch Netflix on your phone. How could they?
That's what I mean.
What they're doing is they're setting it up so that you can only watch it on a set amount of devices.
Yes.
You can only be logged into a set amount of devices.
And they've been like that for a while, though.
Right. But I mean, still, that you can't say that they won't come up with some kind of technology that'll prevent it.
But I mean, even like limiting devices or streams at one time, that still doesn't stop you from sharing it. No?
I guess not, but it would be like...
Because you can still have, you can still be streaming it, and I can still use your service.
Yeah, but maybe we wouldn't be able to stream it at the same time.
I don't think that... See, but that's the thing is, if they limit it to one stream at a time, they're going to lose business. Mm-hmm. Because no one's going to want to do that. Because if you have a family...
Well, right, but they say 2 devices at a time.
Okay, so if you're streaming at 2 devices, you and one of your friends can use the same account.
What if you're using it and your kids are using it, and then your friend wants to use it too?
Then you're kind of SOL.
Yeah.
See, because that's how. So I've got Dish Network, and they've got their Dish Anywhere service.
Right.
So that's how they do it. It's limited to only one stream at a time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because when I was working at the law firm in Nashville, there'd be times during the day that I'd be watching TV on my computer, and or I'd go to watch TV on the computer, and one of the kids at home would be already watching it, on their iPad or whatever. So I'd have to like text Mandy, tell them to get off of the service so I can use it.
Right.
I pay for the damn thing. I'm using it.
Right.
Or actually, I think there's a way that you can kick them off it on their end.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's impossible to say that they won't have some kind of...
That's not a streaming service, though, is what I was getting at, though.
There's no way to say that they can't come up with something that'll prevent it. And we know that they're trying to.
Yeah, I know they're trying to.
So, that being said, you could still be looking at $200-$300 a month for all these extra services, you know.
And I'm sure the networks and the
And think about this.
They would probably love that.
Yeah, I mean, you do like the sports packages on your cable. What happens when those all go streaming?
Those already are all streaming.
Okay,
and that's how I watch all of them.
Is it streaming?
Yeah.
Okay,
but I
mean,
pay.
That's got to be like
it's expensive. So I get most of them, like the baseball package I have. I got all of Major League Baseball and all minor league baseball. I pay $125 a year for that.
Okay, so that's $12.50 a month.
And these are all at large discounts because I have a student ID.
Okay,
I'm an active student, so I can get a discount. So the hockey package, I pay $100 a year for that. I pay it's $5 or $6 a month for ESPN Plus.
Mm-hmm.
I pay $50 a year for NBC Sports Gold, so I can watch all the Premier League games. Mm. I pay $140 a year to watch just Sheffield United games, which I'll save that this year because they got promoted to the Premier League. So that's
here. Let's start over with that for a quick second. Seriously, let's start over a second. Go ahead. You said the baseball package is
$125.
Okay. Go ahead. Next one.
Hockey is $100.
Okay.
So ESPN Plus is what? It's $5 a month, so $60 a year.
Okay.
And then NBC Sports Gold is $50. And then and then what?
I'm just trying to do the math in my head real quick.
Well, you got a calculator in your hands. Why are you trying to do the math?
Because I'm doing another type of just
okay.
Focus on what you're doing.
All right. And then Sheffield United is $140. I think that's all the streaming services.
$140 a month, you said?
I'm sorry, $140 a year.
$140 a year, okay.
And there's another one. There's like the UEFA Champions League stream that I didn't pay for.
Okay.
Just because I was tired of spending all the fucking money on account. So what's that add up to?
You're averaging...
It's like $400 a year or something like that. I added it up before.
I don't know why my phone's frozen.
Is it? It's like it's $30-some a month, Ian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably closer to like $60 a month, but...
No, it's not. Because it's only it's less than $400 a year. So how can it be $60 a month?
It's $45 roughly a month. $45 a month, which is about a little over $400 a year.
Well, because it's less than $400 what I pay, but it's all right. It's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
But
that's just your sports.
That's just sports.
Now you figure in, $12 for Netflix, $12
which I don't watch.
$12 for Hulu,
which I don't watch.
Those are the only two I use right now. I'm gonna get CBS All Access and
Disney
Plus, yeah. Just for the new shows that are coming out on those.
I'm interested in the Disney Plus,
right?
Especially for the price.
Well, right.
It's what, $7 a month?
Yeah, it's under $7 actually. I think it's like $6 something.
$6.99 is what it is.
Yeah, $6.99. So
so yes, I guess technically.
Well, I wasn't sure. I was thinking $5.99, but then I was like, no, that's.
Then
too
I think
low.
they charge you tax on it, so it's more. It's $7, whatever.
Right. So $7 a month. Yeah, it'd be like $7.42 a month if they charge like a sales tax. But anyway, and CBS All Access I think is $6 a month. So between the two of them, it'd be the same as what I'm paying for Netflix.
Yeah.
So,
but my point is with this whole topic is what kind of impact does these not necessarily just streaming services, but particularly movie streaming services impact theatrical releases and really theaters in particular.
Right. As of right now, not at all, really.
Well, that's not what I've read.
I guess it impacts it in the sense that studios have the option of making...
Because it's not studios I'm talking about, it's theaters.
Right, but that's why I was going with it. Studios have the freedom to make, if they don't want to spend... If they want a smaller budget film, and they know they're not going to want to have to spend X amount of dollars on advertising and sharing with the theaters, they can just release it directly to their own streaming service. But studios don't have streaming services yet by themselves. Disney would be kind of the first.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any impact on
that's
the
not
theaters
necessarily true
now.
Because Netflix is making their own movies.
Yeah, but those are movies that a lot of them, they're movies they've bought
Yeah.
that weren't going to go to the theaters anyway.
Okay.
So, or they have produced them and again wouldn't have gone to the theaters anyway. So, I don't think that. I think it's going to be more impactful on theaters when actual big studios start doing their own streaming.
Yeah.
So if you get like the Sony streaming service and the Warner Brothers streaming service, which Warner Brothers is working on.
They are working on theirs.
But Warner Brothers does a lot of TV and stuff like that. But when you start getting that, and if they think they can if they can use tentpole films to bring people into their own streaming service, they're going to do that. But the difference is they're not going to make the kind of money that they would on a theatrical release overall.
But that's what I was saying though is the way it's kind of worked the last couple of years is you've got these like big budget movies that are driving people out to the theater for those movies. And those are those big numbers are kind of propping up movie sales.
Yeah.
And then you've got a lot of like marginal movies, because back in the day, at least when we were younger, if you didn't have anything going on a Friday or Saturday night,
you went to the movies.
You went to the movies.
Right.
And you'd go see, whatever was out.
Right.
And word of mouth was able to increase ticket sales.
Or decrease them.
For marginal movies. Movies that maybe aren't going to be the big blockbusters, but a movie like The Usual Suspects. Right. Didn't have a lot of, it wasn't, advertised. It wasn't this big movie, but a lot of people went out and saw it just from word of mouth.
Right.
Now when you have a movie like that's going up against these big budget, big blockbuster movies that are drawing these huge, $1 billion numbers, you either have to get lost in the weeds,
which a lot of them do,
or you pay more money in advertising knowing you're going to take a much smaller cut on the movie if you even break even.
Right.
Then
I think that's why you're finding a lot of those smaller films are ending up to like Netflix and all that.
So, but how much of that is hurting movie theaters?
I don't think it is not yet, because you still got the big blockbusters that are never, because of just the cost of making them, are never going to not go into the theaters.
Yeah.
I guess in the grand scheme of things, if there's months or weeks where there's not a bigger budget film, you're going to find those weeks movie theaters are going to hurt.
Yeah.
But I think they're overall, no studio is going to stop doing theatrical releases.
No.
Now, there was talk of them doing streaming of new movies where you can stream, say, an Avengers Endgame comes out.
The day it comes out.
You can stream it, but it costs like $50.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So that's 5 ticket sales. I don't think people are going to go to those extremes yet. Mainly because the only way it would be viable for me, I'm not going to spend $50 to watch a movie once.
No.
Ever. So it'd be something like, I should get my friends together. We'll all chip in and sit around and watch this movie at my house.
Because I'd rather go to the movie theater and watch it.
Right, and I think
you get a better experience.
And I think we're not at a generation yet where that's gone. Because I think your kids still like going to theaters. And I think there's still a drive to take kids to the theater. That hasn't gone away yet. So I don't see the movie theaters going anywhere yet.
Well, I'm not saying I'm not saying going anywhere, but I've really noticed in the last couple of years going and seeing some of those marginal movies and seeing drastically reduced crowd sizes.
Yeah.
A lot sooner than you would before.
Well, they're pushing them out onto the streaming services faster too.
Yeah.
When we were kids, from the time a movie came out in the theater to the time it came out on home video, whether it be VHS or DVD,
6 months.
6 months or more, sometimes 9, depending on how well it was doing in the theater.
Yeah.
Now, they're putting them out there. The movies are still in the theaters, and they're out on DVD or VOD or whatever.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Look at Captain Marvel's out digitally. I don't know if it's been released on DVD.
It is. It's on DVD and Blu-ray.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's still in the theaters.
Yeah, so that's my point. In fact,
At least it was still in the theaters a week or two back.
I was at Meijer the other day, and I saw it. And I was like, oh, shit, I want to get it on 4K. They didn't even have it on 4K, which kind of pissed me off.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't have any 4Ks there, so I'm going to have to go get it somewhere else. But
I'm sure it's been released on 4K.
Yeah, it would be.
Okay.
So all the other Marvel movies are.
Yeah. But I guess the flip side of that, and maybe to more what you're saying is it more so that streaming services are now currently or recently more of a complement to the industry overall? I mean,
right now I think they are. I think it's right now there's a synergy between everything where nothing is out of whack yet because the streaming services still have their place. The theatrical element still has their place. And even to some degree, the digital market and the physical media market still have their places. Mm-hmm. There's a bit of give and take and loss there, but overall, everything right now has their place. Whether that continues like that, it's hard to say.
Because for a fact that probably, well, maybe not as we speak, because I'm sure there's no movie exec working on a Saturday. But the conversations are going around right now that of how they can get more money out of the industry. Mm-hmm. I'm talking like movie, whether it's Warner Brothers or whoever, they want more of that pie. They always do. So they're always trying to figure out a way to get more money out of the theaters and back into their own business. Right. So you're right. Eventually, they probably will go to some type of alternative.
I think what the only way though that they could really do it is you have, say, Warner Brothers. Well, we'll say Disney X or Disney Plus. Disney X is a network.
Yeah.
Disney Plus. So that's their streaming service. So down the road, they want to make another Marvel movie, but they want it exclusively on their platform. How do you spend $150 million?
I don't think we'll ever get to that point where
the movie theaters will never really be a threat to them or vice versa.
But we might get to a point where that's the only thing that is in movie theaters.
Oh, that I could see. Just big budget movies.
Yes.
That's it. Tentpole movies and nothing more.
No, that's what I'm saying, though. Is I feel like a lot of the marginal, smaller, more artistic movies get hurt.
They do, but see, the thing is there's an argument that they've been there already. Take the streaming services out of the equation. Studios aren't making original movies. They're focusing solely on sequels. I
don't know.
Genre films, the things that are going to make $1 billion.
They're still being made. They're just not being made as often.
Right. But this argument was made 10, 15 years ago by Spielberg and Lucas. They came out and said that these big summer blockbuster movies are ruining the film industry.
Funny coming from the guys that
invented the big
blockbusters.
Exactly. They really did. And
yeah, they did.
And it was more to the budget of films. It wasn't so much that it was the big blockbuster, because everyone wants to make a blockbuster, no matter who you are. It was more these inflated budgets for films.
Yeah.
But when you make when you have those big budget films, you gotta have a return on it.
But yeah, but when you got an ensemble cast like you had in the last Avengers movie,
right?
And they're all making $20 to $30 million. In
some cases more with Downey Jr.
Yeah, well, he's getting back end.
Yeah, but he still got $50 million just to be in the movies.
Yeah. I think it was less. I don't think it was 50.
Not 50 for just the one, but he got a $50 million contract.
Gotcha.
To do so many after the first Avengers or second one, whatever it was.
But including back end, he made a shitload.
Oh yeah, he never has to work again.
No,
if he doesn't want to.
But just think of what that. I mean, the dollar amount that they had to shell out for those actors and actresses. I mean, that's got to be a huge impact.
Their argument really was, in this day and age, you can't get a young filmmaker to come out and make a Star Wars. Imagine Star Wars doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. In the current film climate, a young student like George Lucas couldn't come out and make a Star Wars now.
No.
And that's kind of what they were.
No, because he wouldn't be given the chance to.
Well, there's no way he could make it on. Yeah, there's no one's going to give him the budget that would be required now to make that film. So that's kind of more of what they were talking about, and I think streaming services might be a benefit to that, because now you're gonna have like a Netflix or whatever who wants smaller films that they can just have like as a catalog. They might say, oh, you know what, this 25-year-old film student wants to make this movie or has made this movie, let's buy it. Who knows what it'll do. It could be the next Clerks or whatever. That kind of thing. So now
you've seen that.
And
you've got, especially now that Apple's getting in on it and they're investing billions of dollars
in original content.
So I mean, Apple, there's no issue with budgets with them. They can kind of give whatever they want to
a point. I mean, they still have to get a return on it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They're not going to give Kevin Smith a $500 million budget.
No. But they're able to. They've got the money to go out there and make those investments in younger, undiscovered talent,
right? And
give them a chance.
And I think that's why.
And if it bombs, it's not really going to hurt them financially.
And I think that's why you're not hearing that argument anymore from Lucas or Spielberg.
Yeah,
because I think there is a market for those smaller films, younger filmmakers. The movie theater situation, it's not going to be the same. I think the movie theaters are going to be for big, blockbuster movies.
Yeah.
And everything else will just filter down to the streaming services or whatever.
And I guess also, if you look back, kind of compare it to when we were younger, and I don't want to sound like the old guy on the front porch,
that's my job,
shaking his fist at the kids.
That's my job.
But when we were younger, it seemed, and maybe I'm just wrong, and I'm misremembering it, but it seemed like a lot of the blockbuster movies came out in the summer. A vast majority of them. And now it's not that way.
It's kind of throughout the year.
They're spread out throughout the year.
That was a trend that started or was starting about 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
But not to the extent. The Harry Potters kind of like got that going because they would come out, Lord of the Rings, in like November.
Yeah.
November, December. And that was kind of pushing it. Star Wars Episode 7 really solidified that, because it was the first movie ever to make over $100 million in a December release.
Yeah.
Because the Harry Potters and the Lord of the Rings were like Novembers.
Yeah.
So this was the first December movie.
Well, I think the last couple of...
No, they were late November because right around Thanksgiving.
Lord of the Rings, I want to say, was like March. They were earlier in the year, I thought.
Oh, maybe. I know the Harry Potters were all November.
Yeah,
around mid-November.
I think Lord of the Rings was earlier in the year, though.
So,
maybe,
because that's one of the records that Force Awakens holds. It's the largest December release of all time, and it will never be touched as of right now, because other than a Star Wars or a Marvel movie, nothing's going to come out in December and still make that kind of money.
And Marvel doesn't release movies in December.
No, they're early March through July.
Yeah.
They've
March,
done,
April, May.
They've done later November releases,
but they're not that big. I want to say I don't remember.
It wasn't like Ant-Man came out in November.
No, I want to say that was like a June or July or something like that. I think Doctor Strange. I don't remember. The
one. There's one or two that came out like
later
October or whatever. Yeah,
but it hasn't been like Avengers or anything.
Right,
like that.
Right. So, I think you're right. The studios are going to want to increase, like you said, their piece of the pie,
profitability,
their name brand. But overall, I think. I'm no expert, obviously.
We're not an expert in fucking anything, but it doesn't stop us from talking.
We are experts on making ourselves sound like we know what the fuck we're talking about.
I've said that for a long time.
Yeah. So, I think the film industry overall, and that includes television.
Yeah,
because most television shows nowadays are made like films.
Pretty much.
Everything's kind of balanced right now. I don't think that'll last forever. But for right now, there's a strong balance between everything. Mm-hmm. Where it goes from here is the question, I guess. And I think there's going to come a point where there's going to be too many streaming services, for sure.
Yeah. And I think, even when like HBO came out with HBO Now, and created their own like standalone streaming service. I think that kind of really kind of accelerated the process.
Yeah.
Because you really saw that HBO was able to take something and with new and original content, and HBO has done original content for a long time, but they were able to market it in a different way and really add a lot more viewers to their service.
Right. But see that where can HBO go? They've got their original content. So they've got their shows.
Mm-hmm.
That's great, but they're going to lose their films. If all these other companies start pulling on streaming, you're not going to be able to go on HBO now and say, "Oh, they got the Harry Potter movies," because Warner Brothers will take those away and they'll want to do their own thing, or whatever. They're not going to get the Avengers. They're not going to get the Star Wars.
I don't think we'll ever get to a point like that, though.
Well, Netflix is losing a lot of stuff because of that.
Well, yeah, but Netflix was a really big umbrella that had a lot of different things.
That's true.
And I think the stuff that has been pulled, I don't think it's really impacting them in a negative way.
They still have Disney. They still have Disney movies. They still have Marvel movies. They still have the Star Wars movies. Not all of them, but a couple of them. So they still have those things. Once they start losing those things, that might be a different story.
Yeah.
And you do have to take into account that there's a lot of stuff that doesn't have the Disney name on it, but it's still Disney, and will end up getting pulled too. So,
but that's why they've
expanded on their original content.
Yes, exactly.
But see, that's kind of where I was going to go with that.
I think that's why. I think that's why Apple's doing the same thing.
At the very least, this might be an opportunity to force these companies to start making more original content too.
Yeah.
So, if they're not going to have all these big blockbuster movies on their streaming services, they're going to be forced to make new original stuff to pad their catalog. For better or worse, that might be a good thing. Mm-hmm. Like we've said, younger filmmakers and writers get in there and have an opportunity to work in an industry that's growing.
Yeah. And I think that's probably why one of the reasons why a lot of people talk about how we're kind of in the heyday or the golden age of television for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I would say movies also, or one of them, because prior to this whole revolution, say 10 years ago, when it all kind of started, if you were a smaller filmmaker, it was a lot harder for you to break into the industry, and I think that's a lot different now.
Right. Because a lot of people say it's the technology too. It's a lot easier, a lot cheaper to make films.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling it's more the fact that the industry's so hungry for content.
Yeah.
That makes all the difference in the world.
And I guess when I say golden age, I think I mean maybe not overall quality.
No,
I think
in some cases yes, but you're right.
It just in availability. I mean, you can, and I think that's another thing that kind of hurts movie theaters is, like I said before, if you had to go out and go on a Friday, Saturday night, go to the movies and go to wherever, actually get in your car, drive somewhere, go to the theater. Mm-hmm. Now you've got endless possibilities from your couch.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I mean, there's just so much content out there to watch.
Yeah, and I mean, back to the primary topic, I don't think theaters are going to hurt at all. I think they're still going to have their piece of that pie.
Yeah.
I really do, because like I said,
maybe for the foreseeable future.
Right. Unless they can figure out a way to convince people to spend, $50, $60, $70 on a stream of one film for one time.
I just don't. I mean,
because that's the only way they'd ever make their money back.
I say that, but man, if you really think about it, look at the numbers that UFC pull in, and they're charging that for their events.
I guess if they went to that level, but I mean, it's one thing. The convenience of it, I don't think the value is in the convenience there.
Yeah.
Because if it's just a matter of driving to the movie theater and spending $10 to see a movie, especially if you're not sure about it, it's like, granted, like an Avengers, everyone's going to want to see it. whether they're a Marvel fan or not. They're going to want to see it. But I just honestly, like I said, I just don't see it taking off or being profitable enough. And if they had to lower the prices, because if it was like a $10 rental for one viewing, no problem. I'll do that all day long. If I can just spend $10 and watch Avengers Endgame at home for the first release, fuck it. Yeah, I'll do that.
Because that's cheaper than the theater for the
we'll say $20. We'll say $20.
I don't think it would ever be that cheap.
Right, but that's my point. And then once it gets higher than that, you're not going to find people to want to do it.
But maybe that's another thing that's kind of that could potentially hurt theaters is kind of the overall cost. Because I know back in the day I used to go to the movies, all the time.
Right.
But that's because I could go pay $4.25 to go see a movie, and now unless you're going to go to a early matinee, you're not seeing anything for less than $8 to $10.
Right. Well, when I was a kid in elementary school, on Fridays they give us coupons, and there'd be like 8 kids movies or family friendly movies on there, and they were all free.
Yeah.
And there'd be those movies for the whole week.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd go on Saturday afternoon. The Burbs was always on it. I don't know why, because it's not really a family friendly movie.
I love that movie.
I do too, but my friends and I probably saw The Burbs in the theater like 20 fucking times.
Oh yeah,
very easily. So.
Well, I know Ann Arbor used to have the Dollar Theater.
Right. Well, there were where I lived in Lincoln Park. There was the Allen Park Theater. There was there was Allen Park. Southgate had a Dollar Theater. All within like 10-minute drive, there was at least 2 or 3 Dollar Theaters.
Yeah.
I saw Spaceballs in '86 at the Dollar Theater.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I can't see there being a financial way to do streaming on big budget films on release that's first of all going to make the profit they want, second of all be financially suitable for for the mass market.
I got you. It's just I don't know, it's just interesting to see or think about what can eventually happen, I guess.
Right. I guess in the grand scheme, that's kind of where this has been kind of exciting.
I'm sorry, I'm distracted by watching the
Tigers just fuck up.
Completely fucking inept Tigers.
Yeah. Although, surprisingly, it's only
that was a very catchable ball.
Yes, it
was. So, Nick Castellanos, he's playing in the outfield. This ball gets hit over his shoulder, and my 14-year-old probably could have caught that fucking ball, and he looked like a bumbling buffoon out there.
It didn't look good.
No, and I don't know how Cleveland didn't score more than one run off.
I was just going to say, though, that's kind of impressive that the Tigers have held them off for almost 5 innings.
5 innings.
5 full innings, and it's only 1-0.
I remember who was it? Bobby Higginson. Bobby Higginson used to play for the Tigers back when we used to go to the games all the time. That looked like a fucking Bobby Higginson play. Fucking old bummy Higginson out there stumbling and bumbling around. And Nick's a pretty good player.
Yeah, maybe he's having an off day.
I guess, because that was really fucking bad.
That was bad, yeah.
So I sorry for the complete,
jump of subject there.
Well, I was really distracted for the last 2 minutes.
Right. No, see, that was a good catch.
Well, yeah, that's how he was going to catch, but they scored a run off of that.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't, at this point, I don't know why anyone would hold out hope for the Tigers this year. This year's a wash for them.
And not only is this year a wash, last year was a wash, the year before that was a wash, and probably the next 8 years are going to be a wash.
I don't know, because it was 2003, they missed by one game, being the worst team in history.
They lost 119 games that year.
Yeah. And then it was, 2 years later, 3 years
2006.
later? They came back and they were in the World Series. Yeah. So they could come back in the next 2 or 3 years.
I just don't see it.
Well, you know it better than I do. I'm just saying anything's possible. That's all.
Because, when they were terrible in 2003, they got really lucky drafting a guy like Justin Verlander, picking up some other young guys, trading for pretty much stealing Miguel Cabrera from the Florida Marlins. They traded Dontrell Willis and some other bums for him. And they really got lucky picking up a guy like Maglio Ordonez. They really got lucky in those like 3 years.
Right.
3 or 4 years where they kind of built that team rather quickly. And I just...
You don't think they can do that again?
No, because I don't think they had the leadership from the top.
Right.
Because
didn't they say they weren't putting any money into the Tigers for a little while?
No.
So.
And I don't know if they ever will like they did. Like,
well, they could sell the team.
But
to put money into it.
But Mike Ilitch wanted to win a damn championship, so he was going to put as much money as he possibly could into that lineup to do that. And his son is not invested in that same way.
Right. Well, I don't know. It's unfortunate, but
it is because is and I know this is really fucking off topic, but it's as much of a football. As much as the state of Michigan loves football, loves their hockey, I really say that Michigan is a baseball state.
That sounds right to me. When
the Tigers are doing great, they are the most watched thing in this state.
Yeah. No, I can see that. I mean, like we've talked about it on the show before.
Have we?
Well, growing up, in the summertime, I mean, the Tigers were always fucking on. And I mean, we're talking post '84 when they weren't doing good.
Yeah, well, they play 162 games, so they're going to be on a lot.
Right, but I mean, it was as much
I understand.
on my TV. On my TV, the neighbor's TV, we would be outside and you can hear the Tigers game from every window around us. When we were outside playing baseball with each other, just backyard baseball.
But it's unfortunate to see how quickly the Tigers have kind of fallen off.
Yeah.
Especially when you have the Boston Red Sox won the World Series last year with a lot of the players, with a lot of ex-Tigers on their team.
Oh, really?
With an ex-Tiger as their general manager. The Tigers general manager that kind of put everything together in 2006, 2012 is their general manager. So, I mean, I guess it's nice to see the 2012 Detroit Tigers finally win the World Series,
as the
Boston Red Sox.
Yeah,
I don't know. I have absolutely no fucking clue where we're at in our conversation.
Well, it's okay. I mean, we kind of. I think we covered most of it anyway. It's just, the question was, is the current streaming and the way that the industry is kind of moving, is it going to hurt theaters or theater releases? And I just think right now, no. There's no concern of that yet.
Yeah.
Who's to say down the road? But I really can't see any way that you can reconcile huge budgets on films and not having theatrical releases.
No, because that's the only way you're going to be able to draw those kind of crowds.
Unless you do, like you said, like the pay-per-view, like sporting events.
I think.
But even that, I can't see someone spending. I can see it on a sporting event. I can't see it on a film. I just, Avengers 25 is not. No one's going to want to spend $50 to $100 to watch that in their home.
So look at it this way. Let's go back to the kind of the UFC model, which is you pay $80, whatever it is, for a sporting event. But that's $80 for you in your house to watch it.
Right.
So I've got a friend that owns a restaurant, and I was kind of talking about this, at least like UFC and things like that, to him a while back. And he said the way it's structured as a restaurant or bar is if you have a seating capacity of 150 people, you're paying a whole hell of a lot more than $80 to be able to stream that in your establishment. And that's kind of how they...
How do you figure?
Because that's how they make you pay. They make you pay per seat in your restaurant. I'm sure it's not $80 per seat, but it's probably pretty damn close to.
Because I'm assuming his restaurant is getting just normal cable, right? Because they've got the sporting events on, so it's ESPN 1, 2.
But even like a basic cable package is a lot more expensive. They've got restaurant services that you have to go through.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're charging you.
Right. So ultimately, I mean, that really just kind of backs up my idea that that's probably not, that alone is not going to be a viable model.
No, I
for
wouldn't
films.
think so. I wouldn't think so.
You know, I just don't see it.
I think the more likely scenario is like you said, where every studio will have their own streaming
but
service.
even that, there's still not going to be.
No, but that's where
occasionally they might do that, where they'll say, "Okay, we spent $120 million making this movie, but our subscription numbers are down, so we're gonna take the loss." And
no, I don't know because I think
this tentpole movie is going to be just on our streaming service, and we're going to get subscribers this way, hopefully.
But I don't think they would ever do something like that.
I don't either.
Just because
it would be a big loss.
Yeah, because they'll put it out in the theater and make up money to subsidize the streaming service.
Now I could see them saying, "Okay, we're only going to put it in the theaters for a month." That will hurt theaters.
Yeah,
because after a month is when the movie theaters start actually getting bigger chunks of the film of their ticket sales. Mm-hmm. First week, second week, they're getting 5% at best. Sometimes, depending on the movie, Marvel, Avengers, those movie theaters made nothing on those movies for the first month. They got nothing. outside of their concessions.
Concessions, yeah.
Right. Now, grant that,
that's probably why you're seeing concession sales.
That's exactly why they're so expensive.
Yeah,
I mean that's why, because they don't make anything on the movies. Generally, they make 5 to 10% the first month, and on a big movie like Avengers, Disney is famous for this. That's less. They might make 1% or 0 for the first week.
Yeah.
So, and Disney has done 0. Like, you get nothing. We get all of the ticket sales for the first month,
That's
or you don't get our movies. That's just the way the industry. That's how the industry's always worked, though.
Yeah.
Now, granted,
I guess that's the side that no one's ever really talked about.
No, but that's why you pay $10 for a fucking popcorn.
Yeah.
Because that's how the
movie theater I go to.
Well, you get my point. Your movie theater you go to, the popcorn's still expensive.
It's $1
for a popcorn.
Yes, it's $1. All you have to do is buy a drink, and you get a free popcorn. Actually, if all you want's a small.
You're talking matinee pricing now.
No, that's all the time.
Well, I don't know how your movie theater stays in business then.
The movie theater Monroe. That's why we always go there. You buy, all you have to do is buy a drink. You get a free popcorn. You get a free small popcorn, or you can upgrade it for $1. But you have to print a coupon off their website.
Oh, well, it's a coupon. A lot of people aren't going to do that.
I'm sure a lot of people.
Do, but there's probably people like me. I wouldn't do it. I'm not a coupon guy. I would go in there and pay full price. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not. I don't. But then I go to the movie theater. I don't have a family of 5 to take.
That's true. It's just you.
It's just me.
Yeah.
So if I had to take a bunch of kids with me, I'd be like, okay, let's look at some coupons here. But if it's just me, fuck it. I'll pay.
Actually, what we do is
$6 for a popcorn.
I'll go in there. I'll go in there and upgrade to a large, and then I'll bring bowls in for the kids because you can. It's a free refill. So I'll carry my large popcorn in the movie theater, divvy it up in their bowls, and then I'll go back out to the lobby, fill my popcorn up again, and go back into the theater.
You are an old man.
All for $1.
I just remember my grandmother. She's like, it's too expensive, so she would load our pockets up with candies and stuff when we go to the movie theater. We never bought concessions when I was a kid, ever.
I don't think we ever did either. I don't know, but like when I take the kids by myself, we don't buy. I'll buy a drink and then that's it, and everyone can fucking share it.
Yeah,
or I'll buy 2 drinks and everyone can share it, but. Yeah. But when Mandy goes, we always have to get popcorn and all that nonsense.
Huh.
But then again, I normally take kids to the earliest showing, so we'll go to the movies at 9:00 in the morning,
right,
or 8:30 in the morning.
So the ticket price is shorter anyway, or smaller. The matinees.
No, I take them there so I don't have to buy them concessions.
Oh,
because I'm a cheap bastard.
Yeah, I can honestly say I'm glad you're not my dad. So, but. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, in the grand scheme, I think the system as it is right now, it's still changing, it's still evolving, but right now it's evolving in a way where there's a nice balance between everything.
I'm interested to see what Apple's service is going to look like come this fall.
Yes, because they're coming into it kind of late in the game. if you think about it. Because what does Apple have? That's their own.
Just money.
That's it. They have,
and they're throwing a shitload of it.
Right. So, but they're not gonna. They're starting a CBS All Access. Everyone was like, "You guys are crazy. You're starting a streaming service with just a back catalog of CBS programming, and one show, one tentpole show to sell it." It was Star Trek. It worked for whatever it worked, because now they're expanding. But Apple doesn't even have that. They don't have a back catalog.
No.
So what they're going to have to rely on is spending some money on getting movies that are unaffiliated, and hopefully, in the grand scheme, they'll be putting money into young directors, young writers.
They've been doing that for over a year now.
So they do have a catalog then.
Nothing's been released, I guess, yet.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Because
they haven't released, as far as I know, they haven't released any.
How far away are they from doing a streaming service?
It starts this fall.
Okay. Because Disney's coming in with a huge catalog,
and their TV service is, at least at this point, from what I understand of it, is kind of like you were saying earlier, it's like an aggregate of other services.
Right. It's like a cable network then.
Kind of.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I just what I like about it, and I know you've said I'm snobbish about this, but I think the benefit of this is you're getting away from content, the traditional old school content where there's commercials and advertising. I like that. That's the main thing I like about Netflix and Hulu. If I had to pay that for Netflix and still have to watch commercials, I'd be irritated.
Yeah, see, commercials don't really matter to me at all.
You're in the middle of a show and there's this action set piece, and then it stops and you got to watch a commercial about fucking laundry detergent.
Okay.
I mean, granted, we grew up with that, but if you don't have to,
but maybe that says something about us as a society that we can't wait a minute and a half.
It's not the point. The commercial is.
I think it is a point.
Not if. I mean, we've had this argument. If you're paying for you won't even buy your children fucking popcorn at the movie theater, but you're willing to let them double dip you, pay you to watch their ad.
They're not double dipping me.
They are. You're paying to watch the show. You're paying for the access to the show, and you're paying by watching the commercial, because that's what commercials are. That's how free TV was free for 50 fucking years, and still is in some cases.
Yeah.
But now you're paying. You didn't pay for it before. Now you're paying for it. You don't need the commercial.
It just isn't a pain to me. It's something that's
I don't care. To me it breaks up the story. And why do you need to break up the story?
So pay
it's
extra,
not about waiting.
So
it's
pay
it's
extra
about,
and get the.
Oh my God! Stop! Laundry detergent, beer, fast food. Then you come back. You're like, oh my God! And it cuts right in. Why? If you don't need it there, why have it there?
Sometimes I think it kind of adds to the suspense of the story. Also,
no, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
Fuck that. And if you have to get up and go take a piss, you can pause it. You can pause your TV.
Or just wait till a commercial.
No. And you cannot tell me. I've seen your wife do it. She fast forwards to the commercials when she can.
See, well, and that's the thing with our dish is if you DVR it, it automatically skips the commercials.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I have to fast forward through mine.
Yeah, ours automatically skips. If you watch it, you have to wait 24 hours. If you wait 24 hours after it's been recorded, it automatically skips. If you watch it within the first 24 hours, you'll have to fast forward.
Oh.
Or skip through it.
Yeah. So it's a pain in the ass, and to me it's one or the other. Either it's free and the advertising
it's a result of our instant gratification society.
I'm sorry. Okay, now imagine you're in the middle of watching a football game, and I know they've done this, but not to the same extent. You're down to a play. They're getting ready to kick to their fourth down, and they're getting ready to do a play, and cut. Now you got to watch a stupid fucking thing.
Actually, they did that.
I know they've done it,
and
but
what did they switch to? They turned the game off and turned on Heidi, I think it was.
Oh, I've never seen
in like the 70s. Yeah, it was like one of the biggest.
But see, that's okay.
It was like one of the big, or maybe it was the 50s or 60s, but whatever. It was like one of the biggest football games of the time, the championship game or something like that. prior to the Super Bowl. Yeah, and the very end of the game, they turn the game off
because Heidi was supposed to start at a certain time.
And they turn on Heidi. Yep.
Yeah. Now imagine that with a commercial. Now, granted, they come back. Now the play's over with. Now all you get is the recap. You see what I'm saying? There are
because that would never happen. First off,
right. But my point is, imagine that it did.
But it wouldn't. I mean, I think it's a really poor analogy, but
to me, it's the same thing. It's if that happened to me, I get it if it's free
because when
I put up with the commercials.
When you're watching on TV, when you're watching a TV show, and it goes to a commercial, the show doesn't keep going on.
You say it feeds into the
I said it sometimes can.
Instant gratification situation.
Yeah.
I think the commercials feed into our consumerism and this idea that we have to be force fed all this bullshit to sell us shit that we don't fucking need. That's all advertising is.
Okay.
Advertising is really the worst thing that's ever happened to humanity.
I wouldn't say that.
It's pretty damn close.
Really?
Yeah, I really.
Okay. You're right. Commercials are worse than Hitler.
Oh well, no, not.
Okay, well, thank you. Okay.
As far as non-genocidal things, it is. It's the worst thing. But
why are these guys wearing bags? Oh, because
it's raining. It's been raining. I was raining when I came over.
Yeah, these guys are wearing bags on their heads.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we should wrap it up. If we're just gonna keep jumping topics into baseball.
Yeah, fuck why not?
So I don't know.
It's gonna be. I think it's to be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what comes and how it all works out. And who knows? Maybe I'm wrong.
I said, I think there's a balance. I think there's a nice balance right now. Oh, he's pissed.
Stop jumping and talking about baseball, damn it.
There's a balance right now, and I think the balance can maintain even with the addition of new streaming services and things like that. Where it goes, say, 10, 15 years from now, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
Oh, we'll see. I don't know. You got anything else to add? I guess you just said your
I said my piece, yeah.
You said your piece. Yeah, I think when we see, I think depending on what Apple does, well, I mean, I think it could potentially change, not necessarily the market overall, but streaming markets, depending on what they do.
Right.
Because you're right, they don't really have any kind of original content yet.
Right. And with everyone else trying to get a piece of that streaming pie, it's going to be hard to get content.
Yeah.
Unless they make it themselves. So that's where I was going with that. So
I got you. All right, well, any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@lifeandjournalpodcast.com. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook, and hop on iTunes and leave us a 5-star review, because we're worth 5 stars.
I'm worth 10.
What the fuck is that? That's one thing that's always bothered me, is when people just make a fucking noise in response.
It's not a noise. It's
like a.
There's actually
someone will say something and be like a poof or a ch. It's like, what are you making noises for?
What are words? They're just noises.
But they
have meaning.
They have meaning behind them.
It has meaning. It means fuck that. That's what that means.
It's just like speaking in clicks now, and
why not? It works. It works for some tribal societies.
God.
We are a tribal people.
Herpes on whores, Ian.
Yes, herpes on whores.
Herpes on whores.
Like I said, I wish I should start a band with that name.
Oh my God.
With my musical skill, the music will be just as good as the name.
So be like, maybe we should go get herpes.
No, I wouldn't recommend it. I've seen pictures. It's not. It's a scary thought.
One thing I learned a long time ago is if you think you have an ailment, don't look it up online. Never look up medical ailments online, because you're going to see the worst pictures on earth.
See, but the thing is herpes is preventable. You don't need to get them. So I think that's what they should do in sex ed. They should show you fucking pictures of it. That might guarantee kids start either.
Nah, probably not.
I don't know. It worked for me. All
right. Well, until next time.
Talk to y'all later. Don't get herpes.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, people. He's a jackass. Peace.
Play my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, I'm about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Yo, old lady, drop a guard around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the ring. Got you two cobras, you wanna hang. Shoulder to shoulder, them niggas basic. You know I won't lie. You know that I ain't for that fuck shit. You niggas alright, but I'm way better and she love it. Know that y'all sick as fuck. Here go this tissue, bruh. We taking the dub, hoping you get you some. This hit like a pick me up. She taking my drugs. Know they see the sign. That's some dollar signs. Know they sick as fuck. Know they sick as fuck. Tell them get well soon. Tell them get well soon. Know you sick as fuck. Get well soon.
Oh shit. Watch out, you the god, Billy. Oh shit. Right now, and I'm smiling in your face, bitch. With a gold smile, you should probably make placement to your eye. Niggas sick as fuck. Standing with niggas who down for that party. Who down for some bitches who showing their bodies.